Hey, welcome everybody to Spirituality Adventures. We're glad you're tuning into this episode. We are a viewer and listener supported podcast, so we really appreciate you listening, watching on YouTube. We really encourage you to subscribe to whatever platform you're using. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, or if you're on Apple or however you listen to a podcast, be sure and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. Also, make comments if you like it and share it if you like it. We really need people to make comments and share the episodes that you like. And then also, if you're not already a supporter, we really would encourage you to go to spiritualityadventures.com and you can pick a tier, and we have bonus content for every type of giver. This is a nonprofit, so they're tax-deductible donations, but we do provide bonus content for those who are supporters. So be a part of the team, help support Spirituality Adventures, and we're so glad you're tuning into this episode. Hey, welcome everybody to Spirituality Adventures. Glad you're here. I'm excited for this episode. I have a friend, Calvin Arsenia. Many of you have heard him on my podcast, and he said, you got to meet Melissa. And so Melissa is the poet laureate for Kansas City. Yes. And Melissa, I want you to just kind of give us a little bit of introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your background, and we're going to have some fun talking about your work as a poet, mm-hmm. as an educator, mm-hmm. as an influencer.
Yeah, I would say organizer.
Yeah. With an activist justice bent, for sure, right? Yes. And so, and then I got to hear you do one of your poems at one of the events at Greenwood Social Hall, mm-hmm. and I was like, I loved it. So it's so cool. My editor that works with me, that's been working with me on my memoir, is Francis Story.
Oh yeah, I love Francis.
Formerly poet, Jen Harris. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so introduce yourself. Melissa Ferrer Civil.
Yes.
Melissa Ferrer Civil.
Yeah, it's easy to mispronounce.
Inaugural Poet Laureate of Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes. So life is a long thing, right? You're like, origin story. What is an origin? Primordial soup. That's what it is.
It is. Definitely.
I got my start. By start, I mean I was born in Brooklyn, and I lived there till I was about 9.5, and then I moved to Florida for about 16 years. Ended up going to college there, though I tried to escape, and then was drugged back by not being able to afford the original college I was accepted into. So I was there for about 16 years, and then I've been in Kansas City for about 8. I started writing poetry, poetry piqued my interest around the age of 10, right? Like I liked writing then, but I wanted to be a rapper, right? But then when I was 12, I was going through a really hard time. My sister committed suicide. And everything was very dark.
Was that an older sister?
Yeah, my oldest sister, also my godmother, committed, and she was the person who was closest to me in my life. Okay. Committed suicide, and everything was really dark around me. My family was dealing with it in their own ways, which meant they didn't have a lot of time for me. My school, I was assigned a school counselor, this kind of school therapist type. And the first day I go in there, I was pretty angry, and I sat down huffing and puffing, and she was like, why are you here? And I was like, you know why I'm here? And she's like, yeah, but I want you to tell me. And I was like, my sister passed away. And she said, before you continue, I'm going to stop you right there and tell you, your sister didn't pass away, she died. Pass away is something that we say to make ourselves feel better, but your sister's dead and you have to get used to it. And I was like, oh, bitch. Wait, am I allowed to cuss?
You can, it's all right.
Okay, I'll keep it. I was like, bitch. And
we won't edit anything. Typically, we don't edit unless you want it to be edited.
Yeah.
All right.
And so then, so I walked out of there and kids were like really harsh about it too, right? The way kids can be harsh. A lot of kids were like, your sister's going to hell because she committed suicide type thing, you know? And so there was really like no solace until like a teacher for a random assignment. It was just like a class assignment. We had to read Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, and suddenly that poem became a portal, and like I was able to feel like I was sinking before reading that poem, and as I was reading that poem, it felt like something like reached inside of me to like save my life, you know, to help me rise, literally. And that's when I learned about the power of poetry, and I was like, whoa, poetry can do this? Like, what? Words on a page? What? And at the time I was like really obsessed with helping people. Like my raps were all about like, you know, stop bullying and like all of these things. And so like I was like, this is how I'm gonna help people. I'm gonna write poems. And so that's when I decided that I was going to be a poet. 14 is when I found spoken word. In high school in Tampa. I joined the poetry club, and the poetry club advisor, who I get to have coffee with soon, my English teacher from high school. I'm really excited. I'm going back to Florida for the first time in 3 years. I'm really excited.
Whoa, nice.
But she had a student come and like grab me after I turned in my application for the poetry club on club day, and then I walked out because I wasn't yet part of the club. And she had a student like chase me down in the hallway and bring me back to her class. And she was like, this is a spoken word poem. And I said, what's spoken word? And then she showed me Deaf Poetry Jam. And I was like, oh, yes, right? And so that's when I started doing that. And I had a mentor, thanks to my English teacher named Wally B, who I will also be seeing when I go to Florida. I'm really excited. But he started a youth poetry like open mic night around that time called Heard 'Em Say, and I started going to that and meeting other high school students in the area who did spoken word, and I performed ever since. And there were times I tried to give it up. Lots of times I really tried to give it up. Whether it was because I was joining a cult and I was like, this is the thing that's most precious to me, so this is the only thing I have to give up for God, right? So no more being a poet. Or it was like, oh, I'm leaving suffering behind, and the only way I know poetry is through suffering, and so I must leave poetry behind too. But every time it's coming back around, so it's kind of stuck now. But yeah, that's how I became a poet. But I don't know what else. I think there's so much.
What was your? I'm always curious about people's faith background. Were you brought up in any kind of faith tradition?
So my mom,
church or something else? Just curious.
Yeah. So in Brooklyn, we used to go to this Haitian church, and we would go every Sunday, and it was like very charismatic. Like Haitian churches be off the chain. Like you got people like speaking in tongues all over the place. You got people catching the Holy Spirit, like falling to the ground. You got like the preacher. I don't know if you've ever heard a Haitian preacher preach, but like I barely spoke Creole at the time, and
I've attended several churches in Haiti. Actually, so.
Okay. So
I know it.
How the Spirit moves in Haitians. Anyway, so. When I was 8, I begged my mom to not have to go to church again.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. Love God, love people. I got this.
Did your family have Haitian identity?
Yeah. So my mom is from Haiti.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm first gen. Me and my sisters were all born here. And so is my father. My father is Haitian. My mom's Haitian and Cuban. My father's Haitian. But yeah, so
interesting.
Yeah, so that was like the beginning. But then after that, I didn't go to church, and like as I got older, like in middle school and high school, I would go to church with my friends and stuff, and like check out their churches, because like God was never the question. It was like always like, what feels right, like what is the thing? And actually, like as a kid, it's like I want to hang out with my friends, right? To be real, But like God was always a fact for me, not a question, right? And so that what's interesting is like in my senior year of college, I had my first psychotic break, and like that what preceded that psychotic break was like an obsession with wanting to like reconcile the intellectual mind of man with God, because I was taking these classes on postmodernism and things, and they were like challenging the existence of a source and all of these things, and I was like, what do you mean there's no source? Of course there's a source. And I was like, I'm going to prove God. and like I started reading like astrophysics and like Neil deGrasse Tyson and what's that one? The one really popular astrophysicist with the books. I don't even remember. It's the one really popular. The one really popular one, the most popular one, more popular than Neil deGrasse Tyson. Is it Stephen Hawking? Stephen Hawking,
yeah.
Yeah. He has the book on. He has. I can't see this part of my brain washed away now.
That's all right.
But I was reading like astrophysics. I was reading like sociology. And then I was reading the Bible in 3 different languages. And I was like going deep, manically. So right.
Yeah.
And that
you were staying up all night.
Well, not really. Well, no? I mean, it is also college, so what is staying up all night?
you were.
Yeah. I was in it. And I had a lot of supernatural experiences around that time too. So it kind of all culminated into like one big break, and then it felt like punishment, right? Like I had done something wrong. I was like emptied of myself. I felt like I had done some grave error, and not only did I feel that like everything reflected that, and that's when I had a lot of like visions, and then like could like see the difference between like something that is beyond my power having control over my perception and me having control over my perception, and the differences. And then I saw a lot of things then. And I'm so willing to go there, but like overall, to like answer this like faith question, like even in those times, I was always believing in God, sometimes questioning God now, fighting God. And now I fight God openly, right? But like, I'll be like, I fight God. But I think
there's a biblical tradition. Jacob wrestled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always evoke that. I'm like, I mean, and then God said, "You my man," and so like, I mean, anyway. So,
I think you have to really actually have a relationship with God to duke it out a little bit.
Exactly.
So.
No, I really, that is my interpretation of that story. It's like the desired behavior is not like rebellion for rebellion's sake or anything. It's like the fact that Jacob believed in God so much that Jacob was like, no, we have to fight on this because like I see you here, right? Like beside me, you know? So, my faith has always been strong, even if tormented. And lots of torment.
Yeah. Man. Me too. Yeah. I mean, I've been in some dark places for sure. So I was curious, I was looking at your website, which is, go ahead and share your website.
Oh, melissaferrerand.com. So it's MELISSAFERRERAND.com.
Okay. Because I found... anyway.
Wait, what did you find?
Well, it just had it said Seville in it. In the .com.
In the .com?
Well, anyway.
Okay.
But all right. Say it one more time.
MELISSAFERRERAND.
AND. Okay.
Yeah.
And so there's a little story section there where you use some very sort of religious words, but kind of reimagined them.
Yes, simplify.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Like you had a little bit on repentance, accountability, surrender, forgiveness, and faith. And you kind of reimagined all of those to some degree. But I liked what you just put a little short blurb about each of those.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing those? Like, what do you think of when you think of repentance?
Oh, think again.
Rethink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can be such a negative word for people.
I know.
Because
of supremacy.
I'm
sorry, but that's what it is.
You're right. Right?
Yeah.
Repent so you can get in line with the white authority figure.
Yeah,
right?
and also it's not just white supremacy, right? It's white supremacy is a flavor of supremacy, but the very spirit of supremacy of a person controlling another person and telling them what to do is the idea of supremacy. Is taking away the agency and the consent and the free will of a person and chaining it to your own. And so
and it can be various colors.
Yes, and sometimes same color,
usually
different.
Usually patriarchy. But not always even.
Yeah. It's definitely a spirit more than a gender or a color. Yeah.
So then accountability. So rethinking is repentance, which I love that thought.
Which, by the way, it is the Latin root, right?
It is.
It's like
even the Greek and the Hebrew word even would be along those lines, for sure. Yeah. And then accountability?
Yeah, accountability is the ability to account for your actions, right? So, like, I think of it as, like, literally counting, right? Like I have done this thing, I have done this thing, I have done this thing. It's also a sense of ownership, right? Over the things that you have done, and also, like, the things you have said. And it is just... and that brings about responsibility, right? And the like accountability urges one to respond, right? To say, I have done this thing, and here's how I respond to this, right?
It's tied in with your agency.
Yes, tied in with your agency. It's a sense of power. It's where your power really lies. Yeah.
And then surrender.
Surrender. Surrender to what? Surrender to whom? I'm just going to say what is coming. Right. So like, for me, surrender, I think of like being on my knees in my spirit. And I think of like humility. I think of rivers. I think of water a lot when I think of surrender, actually. The way water surrenders, to anything. Like if you ever try to stab a puddle, like the water surrenders, and the puddle remains unharmed. And so like, and I think of surrender as a truly powerful, way to like, move through life. I think the ultimate when I think of Jesus, right? Because I am like Jesus based, although my faith is very will consume whatever is given to me. Jesus, when he's talking to Pilate, right? And Pilate's, and Jesus is like, you can't do anything that my Father hasn't already ordained, basically, right? When Pilate's like, I'm going to have to kill you, right? And Jesus was like, you couldn't if my Father didn't already say so, right? That's the ultimate, that's like an ultimate form of surrender, but the surrender is not to Pilate, right? The surrender is to God. It's to understanding that, like, to live a surrendered life is one where all of your life is God speaking to you, right? All of you understand that, like, your life is in a certain oneness with God, and so when things that seem like inconveniences to others inconvenience you, you're not inconvenienced. It's always a lesson, right? It's always like, is there something here? Maybe there's nothing either. Like I'm not a meaning making person. I don't really like to make meaning because of psychosis. But like in psychosis thrives on making meaning. Anyway, but like it's a wondering, it's a questioning, it's an asking, which is the definition of prayer, right? Is to ask. So like I think surrender is just this idea that I didn't create this whole thing, so what do I really know about it all? And it's that honesty. Yeah.
I like that. And oneness I like as well. It's, good. Forgiveness.
Ooh. What do I say about it now?
These are all words on your little story on your website, just for the people who are, so I just picked up on the other thing. Wow, cool.
Yeah. Okay, the first... I'm answering in the moment. I'm not even trying to remember what I wrote. But the first thing is a lyric, and it's forgiveness is forgiving. So give yourself this gift from time to time. Is the first thing that popped up. But when I think of forgiveness, have you ever read A Course in Miracles?
I have not, but I've been recommended that. I haven't read it yet.
It was very important for me in my healing. But
I've had several guests that have mentioned that. I need to read that.
It's really great. But I think it's in A Course in Miracles. It definitely is in A Course in Miracles where A Course in Miracles says forgiveness is the only lie that God tells, which is an interesting position to take. And it's based on this premise that like actually there's nothing to forgive, but we need it more than God needs it, right?
No,
in order
that's
to
good.
release ourselves,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
And when I think about forgiveness in like from a human sense, it's like this idea of like I could hold on to the thing you've done, which is essentially me holding on to the impact that you had, which also then gives whatever action, especially if it's unsavory, like it gives it power over me, right? By holding on to it, right?
It does, yeah.
But if I forgive, then I let it go, right? So then it also no longer has power over me, and also you are no longer bound to me in this negative way that creates tension, right, and resentment and all of these things, right? So forgiving, and I know it's in the common rhetoric now that it's more for you than it is for the person who harmed you, right? But I also think there's healing when you have been forgiven by someone, right? Like you can feel that, right? When someone's like, oh no, like no worries, right? And if you feel like you've deeply offended someone and they truly communicate to you that they have not been offended, that releases you, right? So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That's really good. So Calvin said, "Hey, ask her about her view of queerness." Ooh. That's a question from Calvin.
Ooh. I love Calvin. I love Calvin so much.
Yeah. So yeah, how do you view that?
I will start with the word itself because I like to start with the word in all things. So queer means weird. Do you know what weird means? Like etymologically.
I thought I did, but tell me. No, I haven't actually looked that one up etymologically. No.
Yeah, changer of fate.
Changer
of fate or fate changer.
Fate changer.
Yeah, weird.
Wow.
Right?
Interesting.
And like if you can think of like if I were to ask you what is it, if you were going to define weird in an image or motion or texture or anything, how would you define it?
Oh my gosh.
The word weird.
Usually for me, weird and crazy kind of blend together in positive ways for me. Crazy good and kind of I love weirdness because it's usually outside the box, kind of even my theology now is very outside the box. I had a pretty tight box that I grew up in, but so I could even do weird theology, something like that.
Yeah. Weird theology. Love that.
I don't know, but not a texture or a fabric or something. Yeah. I don't know. I think, purity culture has this really rigid set of things that are pure. What's in, what's pure, and then what's out is
as
impure.
If it's the things themselves.
And what's interesting is like even like the dietary codes in the Hebrew Bible. Like you're not supposed to eat shellfish, and you only eat fish with scales, or you can't eat a bird that doesn't fly, you can only eat birds that fly. And what's interesting is that most of the prohibitions are animals or species that don't fit the norm or the pattern. And so therefore they're so weird. They're impure. But I think Jesus flipped the tables on that and said, "Hey, everything's pure." And it's a matter of the heart, not whether you fit a norm or a box or something. I don't know. I'm
No, I'm listening.
Asking, you got it.
I know. You said, wait. You flipped the tables right here. What just happened? No.
All of a sudden, you're asking me. I'm like,
I like conversation. I asked because, I just really want to talk about this food eating thing for just like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The food eating thing, like, I think it's really interesting when the premise is like, if you want to live a long and healthy life, these are the things you must do. Literally, that's what it says in the Bible, right? Like the premise is, if your desire is X, then you must do Y. Like that. It's not a hard and fast thing. It's a conditional thing, right? Where it's like, and it's for a specific group of people as well. Just like certain foods are good for some people and not good for other people. Like literally, it's so soft, right? If God is a gentle, soft voice, right? Like this idea of the like small, still voice, then why does it have this like how has it become this like really like oppressive, booming thing that's like you must in this way, rather than the like let of it all, the allowance of it all, right? Which is like the let there be light or the thou mayest, right?
Well, an original blessing, and it's good, it's very good, in that whole ancient creation story.
Well, there's so much there. Okay, but that's not the question.
So
okay, wait.
So
queerness. Okay. Weird. All right. Weird. So for me, the reason I ask is, for me, when I think of the word weird, I kind of see like you ever watch TV shows where they have like a dream sequence or something in that transition phase where it's like like that, and the screen is like different colors. Maybe there's sparkles or something to insinuate that they're going into the dream or something. That's that space for me. Weird, right? It's like the
What was that cartoon that came out during the pandemic? It was something gospel. Crap.
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I can't bring it up.
Please.
It was a cartoon thing, and it was called the something gospel.
Is it the Midnight Gospel?
Yeah. It had so many of those like dream phases. That's what made me think of that.
But so the thing I think about queerness, this is okay. Hold on. Sorry. I think before I go to my like big claim, I'll go to my little thing, which is like, to me, queerness is simply defining love for yourself, what it looks like. Against the norms, right? Against this idea, this prescriptive like man and a woman, or even like, here's how sisters and brothers act, here's how family acts, like here's how friends should act, right? Like there are all of these like social contracts that are like both subtle and overt, that are poured into our propaganda, which is like any messaging that we receive from anything, right? That define what's normal, right? And queer is going against whatever, and not even going against for the sake of going against, but like listening to yourself more than you listen to everything else, right? Listening to what feels good and what feels right, what makes you come alive, right? The idea, and on a political level, on a physical level, right? It's like literally like, we being like queer Black feminism talks about like the Black woman body being queer just because it exists, right? Like within the premise or the gaze of the white gaze, right? And like what's your Eurocentric standards, right? The Black woman is a queer body, right? Because typical Black and once again, this is this idea of like typifying or generalizing, but like so in a soft way, like I mean, typical Black female bodies are more masculine than the standard, right? Or like characters are more masculine, more dominant, right? Like, and that already queers us in the white narrative, in the Eurocentric narrative. You get what I'm saying? Like my body, right? I've always been a large Black woman, right? And I go by she, they, but like, and that's a we can, but my body has, like, if I'm going clothes shopping, for instance, I wear in my shoe size, I'm a 10.5 in men's and 13 in women's, right? I'm already queer because of that, right? Yeah. Because I have to go to men's section.
We got the same size shoe.
Exactly, right? I have to go to the men's section if I'm gonna buy sneakers, right? Like, and I'm never wearing heels in my life, right? I'm 5'10", right? My hands are large, right? Like there's so many aspects of myself that says should not be in a woman's body, right? But yet here I am in a woman's body, right? So and also queerness is something I always trouble as well, right? Like the concept of queerness, or I trouble many things. I hopefully cause good trouble, but I trouble this idea of queerness in the sense of saying, like, at the end of the day, I don't give a about like how anyone else sees me. I'm just going to be as I am, and I will dare, and I will not say it is because I am woman, it is because I am man, it is because I'm in between, it is because I'm neither. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, everything transcends all of this, like, physical reality. Like, I have so many things to say all the time, So I think queerness ends up being this thing in which you say, no, I'm gonna do something another way. And which ties to this idea of weird means changer of fate. So someone's saying we must be going this way, and queerness says I'm gonna go this way, right? So,
I like that. And say that one for you said something about love. It's
redefining love for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that concept.
Yeah.
Redefining love for yourself.
Mm-hmm. What love looks like. Like me and my friends, we talk a lot about like queer friendships, right? Like in the sense of the levels of intimacy that we engage in as friends, right? It is in our societal standards, the intimacy stops at a certain point that like is not enough for me, frankly, right? I'm the kind, I consider myself a very intimate friend. So like the moment we're sitting down, whether I've known you for a day or a year, I'm always ready to go as deep as you want to go, right? Like I'm always ready, right? And also you may not be ready, but if you say something that sounds off, I'm like, well, like, you know what I mean? I'm always ready to be there. I'm always ready to hold people I love in that like space, you know? And even people I like there's no one I don't love, but like, there's distances, right? So people I'm not super close to or anything like that. Like I'm still willing to hold them in that space if they need it, right? Yeah. And I think that troubles the idea of how close we're allowed to be and like what we share, but that also troubles their idea of like what like community looks like, right? Because like under like capitalism, supremacy, all of these things, you don't know your neighbor, right? You don't trust the foreigner, right? You look away from the homeless, right? Because it scares you, because you're afraid, you don't feel safe, right? And so like this idea of intimacy, this idea of like connection, because we're all humans having this human experience, right? So like what you got that I don't got, like, you know what I mean? And Maya Angelou says something to that effect. And so like yeah.
I love that. And it's Jesus even talked about this phrase I like to not, but the least of these, because there were outcasts in his culture.
Yeah.
But his thing was like, well, that's actually where you meet God.
Yeah.
In the face of the other.
Yeah.
In the heart of the other, in the experience of the other.
Yeah.
And I really.
One thing I used to like to say a lot about the least of these is like, because
I like to say the greatest of these. Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I love that. Like, you know how, in Jesus' time, people were like very, not everyone, but, the people who are trying to get him were like pretty calculating. They're like, well, who is our neighbor, right? And it's like, who is the least of these, right? Which is a real question to ask. And my answer would be like those who you are least likely to do it for.
Yeah.
That's who you most likely need to be around, right?
Yeah. All right, for those who are viewing our podcast, we had a mic that kind of went a little off, and so we're now on different mics now.
Yeah.
And we're back at it. So do you have any, because I want to, if you have any last thoughts on queerness. We were talking about queerness and your understanding of queerness. Was there any other thought that you had there?
Yeah, because this is a spiritual thing, so I want to bring it to the Bible for a second, because that's my jumping off point in a lot of ways. But I think it's interesting that in the Bible, in the Old Testament, I told myself I'd remember what chapter, what book, what verse. I'm not one of those Bible readers that can do that, right? And I always forget, and so I can't tell you where it is, but you can go find it. When the Jews are in the wilderness, and they ask Moses for a king, and God is like, what? And Moses is like, they said they want a king, and God is like, do they know that by choosing a king to a man to rule over them, they're rejecting me as their king? And Moses is like, I tried to tell them, and God was like, all right, well, give them this list, tell them this is what's gonna happen, because this is just like because once again, God is a God that is not like forcing these things. Like, these are the natural consequences of one's actions, right? This is what will happen if a man rules over these people, or people in general, because it's your first testament against supremacy. So anyway, But one of the things that he talks about is the institution of gender roles, right? Because
institution of
gender roles,
okay,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
because at least that's my interpretation of it,
Okay.
right? Where like he says he will the king will put your women in the fields, right, and in the homes, and the men, what does it say, will to fight their wars, right? Like this kind of thing, right? Where this idea of this division of labor of women and men, and also the like waging of war and all of these things that we have seen. You've seen under the rulership of mankind. Anyway, of men ruling over other men, or people ruling over other people. Yeah. Anyway, and so I often think when I think of queerness.
Oh, now a planet ruled by billionaires and oligarchs, right? So. Yeah.
Which is like mammon, right?
Yeah.
That is literally mammon. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
There's a theme.
Yeah. The Bible ain't lied yet. Anyway, so, but like this idea of queerness also, I think, is like a deeply spiritual one. I think it's like people coming home to themselves and to their divinity as well. It's a journey people are taking to like understand who they are without someone telling them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. The divinity of humanity is, I like to say that. And
yes.
Because in the opening chapter of Genesis, it says that we're all made in the image and likeness of God, male and female. That image of God was an elitist term for only the king who was in the image of God. Nobody else was in the image of God. Just the king was. But in this text, this Hebrew text, all of a sudden that image is democratized to everybody.
Yeah.
So I like to see that as whatever you want to call it, that spark of divinity and humanity. Is the dignity and worth and value of every single person, and I even would take it beyond just
people,
Homo sapiens, right?
Yes.
To all creation.
Yes.
Yeah.
The divinity of life itself. It's funny because right now I'm wrestling with Gnosticism in beautiful ways, and I don't know if are you familiar with Gnosticism at all?
I've read. I think I've read all the Gnostic Gospels.
Okay,
and I've
cool.
read a lot of scholars who work with those particular Gospels as well.
Yeah. I think, and I just bring it up to say, like, in Gnosticism, the general understanding, though Gnosticism is not like a formalized religion in the sense that, or institutionalized, I should say, religion in a way that a lot of we see religion today, but like the generalized understanding is that like humans are divine sparks, right? Every human is this divine spark. Right. And I subscribe to that. I also subscribe to the sacred nature, like to the indigenous understandings of like all life is sacred, right? All of life is sacred. So yeah.
I like that. So I have heard that you went on this trip to Senegal with a crew, small crew here from Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
Calvin was a part of that.
Yes, and genre.
Yeah, and so tell me about your experience in Senegal and how that shaped you and what came out of that for you.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that growing up, first gen, and also moving a lot, formed in me this like search, right, for home. And I run this like arts and organizing event series called A Nation In Exile.
Yes.
That is built on this idea that we are all in exile in many different ways. And then I found Gnosticism, and Gnosticism says the same thing, which is very interesting. Anyway, and it's this idea that we're exiled from ourselves, we're exiled from each other, we're exiled from the land, we're exiled from our culture, all of these things.
Yeah.
And that.
So it's disconnection
Yes.
or a theology of separation,
Exactly.
even those kind of things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so in this like this search for home led me to like when I first studied abroad in Italy, because I believe the hype of the Italians being like, when you're here, your family, literally very American hype of when you're here, your family. I did have that experience, by the way, but like that's not everybody's experience. But I have to say, in this whole journey, going to Senegal, following around our friend Abdul, who was our tour guide, was the first time I ever witnessed someone who's home. Like, someone who, no matter where he went, like, the people around him, I don't know if he ever saw them before that day, met them before that day, but you would never know. Right? When he was haggling with the taxi drivers for us, the level of familiarity and knowingness that they shared, that was home. They were home to one another, you know? At a certain point, we were standing on the beach, you know, on the other side of the Atlantic, right? Which is a wild thing to think about, right? Yeah. And you see all these Senegalese people on the beach. They're just hanging out. Also, people in Senegal love to work out, by the way. They at 5 o'clock, they're in the sun all day. Wait, no, they're in the sun all day, and then at 5 o'clock, walking in the sun all day, right? Walking in the sun all day, and then at 5 o'clock, they start running. It's so interesting. They love working out. Anyway, so you see people working out on the beach. You see, like, you know, people, like kids hanging out, you know. And I'm the kind of person who will say what's on my heart before it hits my brain, right? So sometimes I say it before I get it fully, right? And I just kept going, you're so rich. These are the richest people I've ever seen in my life. You're so wealthy. You're so rich. And I was like elated and ecstatic about this. And it wasn't until I got back that I realized, like, what I was saying was, like, when people desire money, that is not actually what they're desiring. What they're desiring is security. They're desiring stability. They're desiring ease, right? Belonging, comfort. I was in Senegal, and they had all that without trying. You know? And that's home. That's home. And so I think going to Senegal helped me encounter what that the physical manifestation of such a divine principle looks like. I also think I learned, so on a personal level, so we went to the Door of No Return on Gorée Island, and you know.
Just for those who don't know, this is basically where slaves were collected and shipped.
Yep. Yeah. And so it's called the Door of No Return because they walked through that door and never came back, right? But now in Senegal, they call it the Door of Return because descendants of those ancestors are coming back to see where their ancestors, you know. But I went to the Door of No Return, and there's like it's in a museum that is a preserved, one of the only preserved places where they held enslaved people. Yeah. And I heard this story, and it was basically, you know, as is natural, when people are chained up, they rebel because it is not a natural thing to be chained up against your will. And when they would rebel, they would take them one by one, the ones that were rebelling, into a room by themselves. They would wrap them around this column, right? Chain them up against this column, so they were like literally like around this column, and they would whip them, right? In order to break their spirits. For the enslaved people whose spirits they could not break, they sent them to Haiti and Jamaica. And my God, when I heard that, I was like,
Wow.
Like, it all makes sense.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, it was truly, it was, yeah.
Chills.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, logically speaking, what do you think is going to happen, right? Like when you send all the people who don't want this thing to the same place, you get the first Black nation to free itself from slavery, right? And you also kind of get this like descendant, this lineage, this line that is like kind of born to resist this thing, right? And I think it's really interesting. I don't know. I hearing that gave me a lot of context for my own life, right? For my own understanding of like why I am the way I am. And once again, it's as it is translated through my body, through my understanding, through my particular time, place, and factors that all make up this life that I live in this physical body, right? But like, it was a certain homecoming. I was gifted something that day. I was really gifted something. So there was that experience. I mean, we saw some great art, right?
I saw some of your pictures on your website.
Yeah, the art.
How beautiful.
Yo, okay, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell on myself, right? I have not always liked art, right? Like, I've not been, like, growing up, I wasn't a big visual art person, you know? I actually did not start liking art until I studied abroad in Italy and took an art history class, and we were, like, standing in front of, you know, all of the things, and then hearing the stories about why they were built, right? Why they were sculpted, how they were painted, why they were painted, you know? The drama, so much drama in art, right? Like the historical drama, and like not just between painters, but I mean like when you're talking about the Renaissance, like the Renaissance is a time when 80% of the art that came out of the Renaissance was commissioned by the Medici family, and the Renaissance is a time when art is, where propaganda is really, really, really like booming, right? I don't know if it was born there, but it was very intentionally crafted, right? Where you had like these divine scenes, these like like, you know, Journey of the Magi type stuff, right? These biblical happenings, right? Married to like the faces of Florentine nobility, right? Like in order to perpetuate this idea that they were divinely chosen because they do this thing, right? And so like propaganda.
That's how we get white Jesus.
Literally.
And all those things, you know,
literally.
right?
If you think Jesus is white, stop everything you're doing. Please. And so
hey, I had him. He hung on my wall when I was growing up.
Yo, I mean, exactly. Anyway, so yeah, like that love. That's when I learned an appreciation of art, right? So I don't take art at face value. It's all about like, what is it communicating, right? Which to me is the original role of any artistic practice in any culture, right? It's the communication aspect, right? So the art that I witnessed in Dakar, so real quick, we went to Senegal for the Biennale, and that year, which was last year, the theme was In the Wake, named after Christina Sharp's book entitled The Wake. And Christina Sharp is an amazing scholar. You should go look her up if you don't know her.
I don't.
Amazing scholar. Writes on like reclamation of like Black identity. Also like writes on like, so The Wake specifically is about like the work that must be done in order to reclaim who we are. And how it's a repetitive nature, hence like this kind of like wake, right? Like that has to happen. But like the theme of the Biennale or whatever was like, you know, not commentary. Commentary feels too abstract, right? Commentary feels too theoretical, right? Like too you're a little too comfortable if you're giving commentary, right? Like if you're just giving commentary, right? But was response, right? Response to the conditions. And also like a call to remembrance, right? There were like art pieces that were altars, right? And that evoked experiences that were deeply ancestral and spiritual. There were art pieces that like, I love art that does work, right? That does more than just look pretty, right? So So it was some of the most powerful art that I've experienced. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, I want to have you
do an art,
do a poem or two.
Yeah.
If you're ready for that. But before we do that, give us a quick. How can people find your website again? We've already mentioned, but then you do this Liberation School.
Oh yeah.
And your work in Kansas City. I just wanted you to mention what your vision is for the Liberation School, the work you're doing through your platform with the Poet Laureate, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Let's do that, and then we'll
Get
have
going
you do
to
a couple of the poems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got that. Ooh, yes. Okay. So yeah, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Melissa Ferrer which is my website is the same title. So it's MELISSA FERRERAND. And that's my Instagram and my website, a .com website. Yeah, so as we know, I'm the first Poet Laureate of Kansas City, which is an honor. But a lot of my time, honestly, I spent organizing. I do run this Be Real Academy, Black Radical Education for Abolition and Liberation through the Kansas City Defender. If you don't know the Kansas City Defender, you can also follow them. Kansas City Defender. They run lots of news on in a way that is highly biased, intentionally so. It's an abolition media and community organization. The school itself is currently accepting Black students of any age, starting at 14 and up, right? But we've made some exceptions in the past. So like our youngest student has been 10, our oldest student has been 81. We do a cohort model. It's 14-week cohorts. The next one will be in the middle of February. We're finishing up our second one actually this weekend. And yeah, right now it's just for the Black folks because we got to tend to ourselves and orient ourselves before we start to open up, and then hopefully we'll open it up to like Indigenous folks and then Hispanic, and would love to have you. We teach the things that school doesn't teach about Black history, movement history, specifically the liberation movement, and political analysis. And also teaching is less about preaching, although I do love to preach. And we know what preaching feels like when we just go on our tangents. We all do. We all know what preaching feels like. But it's less about telling people what to think and more about engaging with what people already know and bringing that to light. So that's the approach we take. And then just like filling in the gaps, right? And also affirming through history. So that's Be Real Academy. And then, what was the other thing?
The Liberation School.
Well, that's a Liberation School.
That's the title for it.
Yeah, Be Real Academy.
Yeah, and then you mentioned the other organization that you were...
A Nation in Exile. Yeah. So A Nation in Exile is an arts and organizing abolitionist. Once again, real quick, for those of you who might be afraid of the word abolition, it's in the Constitution, by the way, in case you didn't know. The word, and basically, it's actually in the first paragraph of the Constitution where it's like, when the government stops serving the people's needs and what it's supposed to do, it is the people's right to alter or abolish it. And an abolitionist specifically fights against carceral systems in order to in support of building systems that truly restore, truly heal, and truly caretake people rather than punish them and all of these things. Abolition is love is what we like to say, which is just true. And then A Nation in Exile is an event series. You can follow us at A Nation in Exile on Instagram. We put on it's It's a very organic thing because it's me doing it. I have a board, but I have to like fundraise and get all the right things together and all these things. But we've been on a hiatus this year. We are starting again next year. Past things that we've done is like we had a month-long arts exhibit with 5 nights of programming featuring all currently and formerly incarcerated artists, and in support of Khalifa, who was executed by the state last September, Marcellus Khalifa Williams. And then before that, we've done like Black History Month things. We've done Hispanic History Month things. But they're events to get you in your feelings, and then to tell you what you can do with those feelings that are useful and productive for yourself and your community by connecting you to organizations in our city that's doing the work that you probably want to be doing but didn't know you could. And that's the point of A Nation in Exile, because we secretly believe that we get to come home because of us, because it's our job to bring us home. Artists help us to get there by organizing our insights to rethink and reimagine, right? Going back to repentance, right? And organizers help us organize and create the conditions that we want to live in. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So, what poem are you thinking?
Oh, okay. So
you can do one or two if you'd like.
Okay, so I chose two. One is the one that you heard actually at Greenwood, which is one of the newer poems that I've written, and I feel like it just speaks to kind of. I'm going to read it, and then maybe I'll have commentary after it. But we're gonna
do that.
We're gonna yes that feels like the move. Okay. It's called Requiem for a Dreamer. In the summer, they tell us the bass drops out, and it's all treble. All troubling in the flesh, all fully expressed, gone spoiled mess. No one's doing the right thing with all that time on their hands. Bricks and Glocks hit the block faster than the worthy one's footsteps on the football field. They tell us this is our new real. As you scroll on screens and accept this dream, this judgment, this nightmare, this unfair wilderness, imbalanced, sterilized, sanitized, itemized mess, slice and dice guilt, splitting the air of your care into impotence. No gravity grave enough to save us. And somehow, it's all our fault. We were taught to tighten up just enough to split the rock of our foundation into twos and twos and 2 by 2s. Call this the crumbling blues. Call this the I had good news, but I forgot. When the last kid got shot up the block, on that street in Palestine, in Sudan, in Haiti, in Kashmir, in the Congo, in the DMZ, in Argentina, in the Philippines, in LA, in Ferguson, in Atlanta, in Kansas City. In Kansas City, they have the audacity to forget what the good book says. Train a child up in the way that we should go, and we shall not depart from it. They have patronized us for so long, and still they claim no part in this. There goes another pop up the block. Do you hear the screech of the drag races in the streets? Did your car get broken into last week? It's like this world is on speed or something. It's like this world is founded by murderers and thieves or something. Ain't you hear the apple don't fall far from the tree? Ain't you hear you shall know the tree by its fruit? And isn't it strange to you how we all left hanging by a thread? How for all our trying to live, we find ourselves dead, day by day, running from the thoughts in our heads or suspicions that we may actually all be enslaved, forced to do what we hate just to earn our keep, everything under lock and key. It's an active hostage situation, seems to me. Have you ever wondered why it's easier to dream of nuclear fallout, a zombie apocalypse, pathogen outbreak, or the million other ways to die, rather than us succeeding in doing what it takes to stay alive in peace rather than pieces? Have you ever wondered who they are and where they live? The voices in our heads, the cruel taskmasters, the four horsemen of our fears, as we tear at our flesh with our own hands, ravage every Eden we come upon, terrified of our own dark that holds everything we were not told, everything we put to death because it was deemed too bold. And we wonder about the conditions of our souls. We wonder where liberation lies. We wonder about this dullness behind our eyes and why everything is fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, rather than be still and know, rather than breathe.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know what you want me to say about that poem. I do love that poem.
Beautiful. Yes. By the way, you have several readings on your website that you can check out as well.
Oh, definitely.
There's references to your published poems as well on your website.
I have also interviews that I've done in the past.
Yes.
There's a wild blog also on my website. By wild, I mean you never know when something's gonna pop up on there. Mm-hmm. There's no rhyme or reason. Well, there's usually reason. It's the pace and the rhyme that kind of.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts, and then we're gonna say goodbye to our audience.
Okay. So. My thoughts are thoughts on what? On the poem?
Yeah, if you want
to. Yeah. I just think I think the best thing I can say is it's important to question, to seek, ask, and knock. Right? I think somehow we've gotten into this idea that love looks like not questioning. Love looks like not saying what you see, not being curious, or just straight up taking everything that is taught to us at face value as fact. And I think questioning is really important in a spirit of love, in a spirit of curiosity, because then once you start to open that up, you start to realize how little of the ways that we live our lives currently how little sense it all makes, actually. It makes no god darn sense. And you already know it in your heart somewhere. And I trust that and I believe that. So I guess it's like all about be still and know, for real. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us at Spirituality Adventures.
Thank you for having me.
I feel honored to have you here. Seriously. So thank you very much. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for listening all the way through on this episode. By the way, if you're not already a supporter, go to spiritualityadventures.com, sign up for one of our monthly supports, and you will receive our bonus content. You'll receive lots of interesting information about our guests. Many of our musicians will do special bonus songs and record a song. So I want to encourage you to do that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be sure and subscribe. Be sure and share any of the episodes that you like. And be sure and make comments if you like them as well. This helps us get Spirituality Adventures out there to more listeners, more watchers. So whatever platform you're using, subscribe, like, share, make comments, and go to our website, sign up for our team, and be a part of the team support. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.